welcome back to the channel. Today's review, guys, we're going to do an Eachine FMS combo Toyota FJ Cruiser 1/18 scale crawler review. This is running on 2.4 gigahertz. It is a little larger than some of the other micro crawlers that I reviewed recently, and this one's running on a smaller battery. It seems pretty small to be running in this size, this little truck, but 2S 380 milliamp. And what's so cool is that if you open up the hood, it goes right under the hood in the front. So I think that's one of the best things about this crawler, is that they're getting a lot of the weight from the battery up front. And you want to run a battery up front on a crawler always, but it's kind of cool that they did a pop top hood here, and this didn't come undone during my whole drive test. So that's the good news. It also has nice scale detail in here if you like scale RC. This is kind of a cool scale crawler. And honestly, before we even get started with the drive test on this, I gotta tell you, like, scale crawlers, when you see scale on a box, it means that it's for the looks mostly and not so much for competition style crawling. So guys that are new, don't expect like extreme performance out of this truck. It doesn't have the best suspension on here. It's fairly cheaply made, but it came back in one piece during my drive test, which is kind of amazing. I have all kinds of grass up in the wheels and dirt and mud. We're going to take this through sediment. We're going to try to climb it up about a 25 to 30% grade, which is almost impossible for this little guy. There's not a lot of traction on these tires, which I think the tires could be better. If you get this one, I would definitely suggest upgrading the tires. But I love the detail on the wheel wells. This guard does get in the way sometimes when you're going to get up over a rock. It kind of makes the truck get stopped and stuck. So that's one thing. And I would say this body on top makes it kind of top heavy. So again, it's a scale crawler. You know, don't expect like competition performance out of this little guy. It does get stuck, but I will tell you, it's fun for beginners. It looks great, and it comes with a cool box, 2 batteries and a charger. So USB charger, keep everything inside this box. It reminds me of the OMP heli, M1 and M2 helis that you could put in this little tiny box, and you can reuse this for storing it with the transmitter and keep everything in one place. Kind of nice. But let's go ahead now outside. Let's drive the little FJ Cruiser 1/18 scale. Pretty fun little truck. Alright guys, you're gonna love this video because I'm going up about a 35% incline right here. At times it's almost like vertical, and this truck just can't do this type of crawling, but I'm gonna take it up this little trail anyway. We're in Oregon for some of the world's best crawling here, so this could easily be taken by, you know, a 1/10 scale crawler, but it's quite a challenge when you go much smaller at this scale. So you kind of have to go slow, take your time, and there's a lot of sediment on this trail. So where this truck doesn't really do super great is in the sediment. It gets kind of stuck. The tires are a little bit slippery for any type of traction in sediment, but I find that it kind of, you know, works its way over top of nooks and crannies in some of the tighter, drier rocks. When the tires do get wet on this truck, they're a little bit slippery, and once you get a little bit of mud on there, you almost just can't get over some rocks. So that's something to be mentioned. I feel like the tires could be definitely upgraded, but you know, out in the regular terrain where this truck is kind of meant to go, this crawler is like a scale crawler, so it's not meant for the hardest things in the world, but it will, you know, it will perform in actually some pretty steep descents. So I was able to really get away with quite a bit with that back tire on the back of the truck right there. So if you want more forward weight, take the back tire off. But it's kind of a fun looking little truck. Don't you love the way it looks just driving? I mean, for a kid or somebody just starting in RC crawling, this is a great little scale truck, and one just to have sitting on the shelf to look at later. I didn't come back with any kind of damage either. And this is just an example of it trying to get up a really steep incline with quite a bit of moisture. And I kept working at it, driving the tires back and forth, and eventually it seemed like I was able to get some traction. But again, it could use a little more weight forward, I think. Almost if you took that back tire and put it on the front. A lot of times the guys that are doing RC crawling, they just like don't have a back tire on the back because you don't need any more weight on the rear ends of the truck. And there we finally made a summit, so I'm super happy about that. That was pretty steep. And this one is just for fun, and you can get some pretty cool shots with this truck. It almost looks like the real thing sometimes when I'm looking at it. But this is a nice exit right here where I got kind of vertical and got myself in a position where I didn't have a lot of traction, but again, just like working those front tires, and I was able to get out. What a nice shot that was. And now we're going to do some descent coming down from that super steep trail that we climbed up. I had to pick it up quite a bit, and you might find yourself doing that if you're in this type of terrain, but for regular flat trail driving, this truck did great. It could go on just about any type of hike and trail. But again, like our Oregon rock trails can get pretty extreme sometimes, and even driving through here I really had to watch my foot and my step so that I didn't end up falling down the side of this mountain. But I love the 1/18 scale. I think it's fun. I think that it looks awesome scale wise. Performance wise, I would say it's about 3.5 to 4 stars out of 5. I think the cheap price, it kind of is what it is. It's not a performance like crawler or competition crawler by any means, but if you're just looking for something to have fun with, this is probably going to be a popular one. And yeah, you're going to get some tumble-wumble from time to time. It is a little bit top heavy, just giving you an honest review. I think the frame on it adds a lot of high CG on the truck, so if you get a little bit sideways, you're probably going to tumble over. And I had to kind of relearn how to crawl with this little guy because of that taller CG and the weight up top. But man, I love looking at this truck. I just think it looks so cool, and I'd love to have a 1/10 scale size FJ Cruiser. Might even like to have a full size FJ Cruiser, but I made it back to civilization finally with the FJ Cruiser, and it was fun. I had at least a 20-minute drive time with this little truck, and I have 2 batteries, so I still have another battery to go. And that's just the best thing about this, is that crawlers, the battery lasts forever, and you rarely come home with any damage. So this is probably the most extreme terrain for this truck maybe in any of the FJ Cruiser reviews, and it did pretty good. I'm not going to say it's like a beast or anything, but yeah, there you go. Tumble wumble, and I'm back to the parking lot, and hope you enjoyed this review, guys. Honest reviews on the channel as always. I'm Justin Davis. Take care, guys. I'll see you on the next one.